Welcome, everyone. This is Eric Glazer, and this is your Sharp Squares podcast for week 6 of the NFL season 2023-24. Last week, all of our Sharps in aggregate were 56.1%. Good stuff. Our medal games, as a result, 4-2, slightly better, 66.7%. You've got your calculator on. Pick 5 for us. We were 3-2, 3-2-1. We were 2-1, earning 4 of 6 points. For the season, our Sharps, all of them together in aggregate, drum roll please, 54.2%. Our medal games have been 14-7, 66.7%. Pick 5, we're at 16-9, that's 64%. And for 3-2-1, we are actually at 66.7%, going 10-5. However, we've lost a couple of those 3-point games, so our point total is 18 of 30 and 60%. And this is now, folks, the last week. This week is the last week of the first period of the regular season. You believe that? That is right. We are done, just about done with a third of the regular season. It goes so fast. And you can note how creatively I've integrated a hockey analogy into an opening of a football show. You're welcome, Jeff Google and other NHL fans listening. Let's go Whalers. If you want to get the crib notes from leading podcasts that you listen to delivered to the comforts of your own device, we send 1 or 2 shows every Friday through our newsletter. You can subscribe for free. Go to sharpsquarespodcast.com. and just click on newsletter and you'll get a friendly email from me every Friday with 1 or 2 links to crib notes. You are welcome. Okay, folks, here we go. All right, we are going to bring in our producers later on the show to help out with the handicapping highlights, get them some reps. But before we highlight the handicaps of the top picks, we need to let you know what are our top picks. And to do that, I'd like to introduce you to someone very special. Everyone's favorite fellow degenerate, the Greg Roth.
Eric, thank you so much. We have 4 medal games. There are 2 gold games. There is 1 silver game and 1 bronze game. The top-rated game, the top-rated gold game, the pick is the New England Patriots. They're plus 3.5, traveling to Las Vegas to take on the Raiders. By the way, I was at that Las Vegas Raider game hosting New England last year, Christmas week. We don't know what happened in that game. Patriots, I guess, they're going to be the top pick at plus 3.5. Ross Tucker, Chris Raybon, Eric Eager, and Adam Chernoff all like New England. In dissent, Scott Seidenberg picked the Raiders. The second gold game, the pick is the Indianapolis Colts. They're plus 4.5, traveling to Jacksonville to take on the Jaguars. Ross Tucker, Cleve TA, AJ Hoffman, Scott Seidenberg, Will Brinson, and Dave Essler all picked Indianapolis. There was dissent on Jacksonville from RJ Bell. The silver game, the pick, it's the Minnesota Vikings. They're minus 2.5, traveling to Chicago to take on the Bears. Chris Raybon, AJ Hoffman, Rob Pizzola, and Tommy the Hitman all picked Minnesota. RJ White in dissent took Chicago. The bronze game, the pick, it's the Philadelphia Eagles. They're minus 6.5 at the New York Jets. I got to say, that's 4 road teams we're taking. The Eagles minus 6.5 at the Jets. Fabian Summer, Will Brinson, Cleve TA all picked Philadelphia. J.R. Ranieri picked the New York Jets. So for our picks, obviously we have 4 medal games. Those are going to be our first 4 pick 5. The next highest rated game will fill out our pick 5, not a medal game, but that 5th pick is the Chargers. They're plus 1.5. They're a home dog welcoming the Dallas Cowboys on Monday night to Los Angeles. The Whale Capper and RJ Bell both picked the Chargers. So let me recap the medal games. Gold, New England and Indianapolis. Silver, Minnesota. Bronze, Philadelphia. Pick 5. Those 4, Patriots, Colts, Vikings, Eagles, add the Chargers as the 5th highest rated game. We go to 3-2-1, as has happened the last 2 weeks. One game comes from nowhere and makes it into 3-2-1 because of line value. In this case, it's the Lions. They're -3 at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They leap to our 2-point game. The Patriots, as our number 1 gold game, stays at 3. The Colts, our other goal game, drops to number 1. The Lions move up the board at -3 to 2 in our 3-2-1. So Patriots 3, Lions 2, Colts 1. Pick 5, Patriots, Colts, Vikings, Eagles, Chargers.
All right. As usual, important and enlightening information on what all the sharps are doing in aggregate and how we've bubbled up their picks. And if that is all you are looking for, you are now all dismissed. And if you want to stick around for some of the trends we like the most and the handicapping highlights of some of the top games, here we go. Greg, why don't you start us off?
Eric, first trend is courtesy of Bet Lab. Since 2003, winless NFL teams in October or later have gone 145, 128, and 6. That's 53% against the spread. That includes a 41 and 29 mark, 59% against the spread as double-digit underdogs. Also, if that team is an underdog, they're 50, 36, and 3. That's 58% against the team. Who are the winless ATS teams this week? That was Denver on Thursday night, but also the Giants +14 traveling to Buffalo, and the Panthers +13.5 traveling to Miami.
Wowza. That's something to think about. Those are tough plays. One nuanced trend I wanted to throw out because I think it's cost us a couple of games this year so far, Greg. Mac Jones of the Patriots, obviously. Last 12 starts as a dog against the number 0-12. 0-12. Raiders this week are -3 hosting the Patriots. The trend continues. That's your play there.
When do you think Mac Jones will be a favorite again? Maybe against the Jets at some point later in the year. I don't know. But he may not be a favorite again. The only way that trend might not be applicable all year is if Mac Jones gets benched, which we all know is possible at this point.
That is probably the most likely scenario of all those that you addressed. But I am not in a position to provide any guidance in that regard. I'm just a guy. Folks.
Apparently so is Mac Jones.
We're going to give some reps to the guys, like I said earlier. So they're going to cover the handicapping highlights. So I don't know how the ambassador, David Eby, has assigned the games. So maybe, David, give us a preview of the games we're going to cover and who's going to be covering them so our audience could put a name to the beautiful voices you all have. Take it away.
Thanks, Eric. I'm going to start off with the first of our 2 gold games. That's the Colts at the Jags. And then we're going to dust off a couple of our top wily veterans coming out of retirement, not unlike Tom Brady a couple of years ago. We've got the dealer for the Patriots Raiders notes, and then the professor for the Vikings at the Bears. But let's start with the Colts at the Jags, where the pick is the Colts +4.5. The theme for this game is it's a tough spot for the Jags coming off 2 weeks in London and returning home to play this week without a bye. Simon Hunter from the Favorites podcast, notes from Eric Schultz, said that fading the Jags, or he's fading the Jag off. He's fading the Jags off 2 games in London. Not only the travel situation, but lots of personal distractions for players after being gone for 2 weeks. The maestro, Larry Harstein from the Early Edge, says that Gardner Minshew will finally get some first-team reps at practice. And he still has a 68% completion rating, and he has not thrown a pick this year. He also points out that Trevor Lawrence is 0-5 against the spread when laying 4 or more points. Finally, Dave Essler from the Dream Preview said that Jacksonville defense has only allowed 5.7 yards per play this year, and Jacksonville is in first place right now with a points per game differential of only 3 points per game. Timestamps for this game: the favorites 12:05, CBS pick 6, 30-30. Dream Preview, 10:50 and 27 minutes. Matchbook, 55 minutes and 30 seconds. The Early Edge, 26 minutes and 32 seconds. And Even Money, 16 minutes exactly. Now let's go to the dealer for the Patriots Raiders.
Thanks, Dave. Our second gold game this week is the Patriots catching 3.5 points at the Raiders. These highlights are brought to you by my man, Chris Dietster. Both Raybon and Chernoff believe this is the classic buy low spot for the Patriots coming off back-to-back embarrassing losses to both the Cowboys on the road and the Saints last week at home. Conversely, the Raiders are coming off a primetime win versus an inconsistent Green Bay team on Monday Night Football. Raybon added, New England has faced some incredibly difficult defenses thus far this season. The Raiders will be the first low-ranking defense that Mac Jones has been able to face all year. Chernoff noted what the New England Patriots can't do is move the ball downfield on long passing plays to find players in space. Las Vegas' strength is preventing players from getting downfield and finding space. So what the Raiders' biggest strength is exactly what the Patriots can't and don't want to do. Thinks the Raiders will sit in soft coverage and concede the run as they do every week, allowing New England for the first time all season to have success both from their running backs and their tight ends in the short passing game. Time spans for this highlight: Action Network, 14 minutes. Forward Progress, 51 minutes and 2 seconds. Dream Preview, 1 hour, 43 minutes, 45 seconds. RAS, 49 minutes, 49 seconds. And Even Money, 20 minutes, 40 seconds. Now to handle our silver game, welcome back, the Professor.
It's great to be back this year. Here I'm going to handle the Vikings at Bears, and these are highlights courtesy of probably one of the most interesting men on Snapchat, and that is Chris Dietster. We've got the Eric Eiger, Hitman, Pizzola, all feel that the line adjustment has gone too far, and the Vikings have tremendous value as a short road favorite. Raybon thinks this is a buy low spot for Minnesota, as they've gotten off to a 1-4 start, and they've just lost wide receiver Justin Jefferson to IR. And while Raybon does think that that loss of Jefferson is huge for Minnesota over the course of the season and maybe the next 4 games at least, it's definitely not for this game against Chicago, because they have such a horrendous secondary and they will allow a big play to pretty much any receiver. AJ Hoffman noted that the Vikings scored 20 on the Chiefs, and while the Chiefs gave up 20 points to the Vikings, they are much better defense than the Bears. Hitman also added 2 weeks ago, Chicago and Carolina were the 2 worst teams in the league. And at that point, the Vikings were laying 5 in Carolina. Now we're all the way through the 3 to the 2.5. He thinks that is way too big of an adjustment here. Timestamps on this game are Action Network, 26 minutes, 30 seconds. Dream Preview, 30 minutes and 46 seconds. Forward Progress, 3 minutes and 10 seconds. And CBS Pick 6 at 26 minutes and 40 seconds. Great job by all of our producers this week. Thank you for all of your great work, guys. Specifically to Dave Eby and to Jerry Westlow, who jumped right off the bench this afternoon to make sure that we would have such a great podcast. To Greg and Eric, who do such a great job every week. We want to just give the credit where it is due.
All right. Great job by the producers this week, especially our fellow co-hosts. Actually, was it a great job or just an adequate job by our co-host, Greg?
It's always a great job when the ambassador and the dealer combine forces.
And the professor.
It's too much star power.
I think it was more adequate. All right. Anyway, reminder, those guys are certainly not sharp, and neither are Greg or I. But this is your Sharp Squares podcast.
Good luck out there.